Okay, so we're live. Good day, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Achiever Zone. My name is Oluseyi Lala. I want to thank everybody for listening in over the couple of weeks that we've been running this. And Achiever Zone basically is a spin-off of a group I created on Facebook called 2020 Goals and Achievement, which is a community of goal-getters that we've kind of put together to help us run through 2020 to achieve our goals, track them, set them, and ensure that we get the best. And tonight I have a very good friend of mine. Her name is Aderonke. And she's I mean, it's just awesome that we've gotten her at the end of the day. If you recall, there was a time I had a major technical issue. She was the one that reached out to me and gave me, insight to another tool I can use to broadcast and get things done, very easy and quick. And I want to thank you for that firstly. So Aderonke, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So how has it been? How has it been generally?
Oh, it's been all right. It's kind of like the best time of my life, to be honest.
Wow. Wow, that's cool. That's cool. So I mean, for everybody that's listening, Aderonke and I were colleagues in our previous lives, and we've gone over different things, and we're in different locations at the moment. But I mean, she's a member of the community. I reached out to her, and she was willing to do this. Like I said earlier, she helped us out with the technical person. So she's actually a technical person. In that previous life, she was more like a tomboy, but I will leave that, aside. But it's good to see you again. It's good to interact with you on this platform, and I thank you for, accepting our invite to join us. So let's just go straight into it, right? Like I said at the intro, this group was created for us to have a community of goal-getters. So that means that we have people that set their goals, track their goals, and look forward to achieving their goals in the year 2020. And 2020 has been, like a visionary year for us, especially in Nigeria. If you recall, there was that vision 2020. We didn't even know. We just knew that 2020 was going to be significant. We didn't know how far it was going to be. So at the start of the year, right, we set our goals. I kind of picked up principles because I've been doing this for a while. I set my goals on a yearly basis and I track it and all of that. Of course, I started out when it was 20% of my goals that I achieve and all that. But over time, I've been able to get to a point where I do, about 80% and above. And I think it was 2018, I tried this out. I created a group, just to pilot it and see how things go. But in 2019, I found, a webinar that I attended. It was created by Michael Hyatt, and he gave me extra principles, right? And I added it to what I was doing, and I realized that I even pushed it further. So I was getting to 90% of my achievements and all that. So this year, I just got inspired that, okay, let me create this group, and have people come in and share those principles. And that's how we started. So we started with quarter one.
Yeah.
We set our goals and all of that. And then by the end of quarter one, COVID-19 happened, the coronavirus pandemic happened, and everybody just kind of survival of the fittest, and we all went into our separate ways and all that. But as I was thinking about it as well, I was working from home on lockdown and all that. I just got inspired that, okay, you know what? A lot of people might still feel that they can't do anything in 2020 again because of this, and I kept, encouraging myself that, okay, you know what? You can still get the best out of 2020. So when you say that, you're living your best life, so far, I'm like, wow, that's a different perspective because people are saying doom and gloom, as opposed to still, raring on to say, no, bring on 2020. I'm still going to achieve it and be the best. So that's the whole idea, around it. So let me ask you, we didn't expect the pandemic, but it came, around quarter one. How has that affected you since then till now? Are you working from home? What has changed in your general daily life and activities?
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. First, thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. And you're doing a great job. One of the things to become limitless is having great mentors, people who show you the ropes. So I just want to say thank you for all that you're doing, and may God continue to, lift your hands higher and, bring the right people, to your team, and hopefully they'll be better off for it. Okay. Yeah. So COVID-19, I don't even like saying the word. That's the honest. I prefer to stick with pandemic, but even the pandemic I don't like. So Yeah. So, okay. So how has this really, really impacted me or my lifestyle? So number one is I work full time. I'm a mom of two wonderful children, a wife as well, a daughter,
Right.
and of
Yeah.
course, I'm someone of faith. I believe in God, and I think He's the reason for my existence. So
Absolutely.
I'm also a gospel artist, apart from being a successful businesswoman in my own right. And like
Right.
earlier, I work full time. However, I someone who is very, very busy. My youngest child is 7 years old and he's a boy, so you can tell how busy. I
Full of energy, I guess.
have a daughter who is getting into the teen age, so she's going to be 13 very soon. So my hands are full. And
Right.
again, working as a woman in IT, where you have to, keep up, with your job, you have to keep up with the demands of your job, you have
Right.
to keep yourself up to date. A lot goes into it. And I have always clamored for the opportunity to work fully from home. And I'm grateful
Mm.
to my company. I'm not allowed to mention their name on
Right.
air, or, they've been fantastic, but it wasn't like I was working 100% from home. So I still have to go into the office sometimes.
Mm.
But this pandemic, placed that into my hands gallantly. If there's anyone like
Wow. Wow. Okay.
fact, they had to call us and say, okay, you know what, guys, you're not required in the office till the end of the year. So I have literally been working from home from even before the lockdown in the UK, because
Right.
companies also, I like that they got on board quickly, and they
Okay.
responded quickly. So before the government put, locked us down in the UK, my company decided to ask 95% of us to work from home, which is great.
Right. Mm. Okay.
So, however, so at the beginning of the lockdown, I was like, yeah, this is the opportunity I've been looking for, not the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then again, at first, it was like, okay, it's just in a particular sector. It's just, some people, I don't want to say the words because I don't want to offend
Right.
anyone.
Yeah.
So he's like, I can't even come near my circle and all that. So I was like, this is my opportunity to like reconnect with myself, reconnect with my goals and, reconnect with my family, my children. And then guess what? All of a sudden, I froze.
Wow.
I went from, I even did a live session. I run as well. So after this
Okay.
race, I did a live session telling people, this is your opportunity, find something new to learn, which is one of the things you should do during the season, really,
Absolutely.
unleash your creativity. It's one of the things I stand for. I was like, you can do all things, blah, blah. And then guess what? After that particular race, I took ill.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, I took ill and I was like, Jesus Christ. And I couldn't do anything. Even my meetings, I forgot. It was just something else. And
Wow.
my husband was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. Going forward, please, can you keep, the boys should stay in one section and we, the
Yeah.
girls, stay in one section. Because I was like, I need to talk to my daughter.
Right.
I was like, God, I know this is not, thinking about the, the symptoms, I was like, no, this is not it. And I'm not going
Yeah.
to, but
Mm.
I was really unwell and I started praying. So of course, I listened to a lot of positive messages and of course, scriptural messages, and it just kept on.
Right.
And, after a while, I got myself back. And then after that, I froze in my business. I was like, my business is the kind of business that, you have to meet people physically. We do physical
Right.
meetings and all that.
Right. Yeah.
But this is where, you have to, in anything that you do, you have to bring your own authenticity,
Right. Into it.
So even though we do physical meetings and all that, I have a group that is spread across the globe. So one of the ways I've been able to manage the group, the team, is by doing online trainings. Well, I never really thought about using the internet, to do my demonstrations and sell, right?
Wow.
So the pandemic hit, and of course, like you said, we had set goals for 2020. Like, yeah, this is the year we're taking over. We're doing this. In fact,
yeah.
our word for the year is takeover. We're like, Team Limitless is taking over. So I felt like, oh, there goes, everything goes out the door. And like I said, when I got well, I was like, okay, how do I make this work for me? I'm going to be responsible. I am a responsible leader. I'm not going to ask go out in the pandemic. In fact, then the government, the lockdown came in. So I wanted to tell them to go out, they can't. So, and amazing things happened, which we'll talk about later. But for me, it has been a great period where, I'm more relaxed.
Right.
I'm working from home, helping my children. I do all of that. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not an irresponsible mom, but I'm grateful to the fact that I have an amazing husband, who is happy to allow me to fly. But I'm just so excited that I'm able to do even much more than what I normally do from the comfort of my home and from behind my computer. So yes, it is the best time of my life.
and it's interesting you mentioned that period where you kind of fell ill and all of that, because to a large extent I also have that experience myself, because yes, I was excited about working from home. My productivity level went up the roof. Everything was, I didn't have to commute. I could wake up 4 o'clock, do some things, log into the office, and all of that. However, I also realized the fact that I was now doing so many things. Like I was telling one of my guests that, like an octopus, I was putting my hands in so many things because I had that time, right? Yeah. And the major point now is that need for rest. Because if you don't factor that in, you're going to burn out.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that happened to me. So, from the face of wanting to do everything to ill, and then getting better and finding my myself and discovering new ways that I can run my business, to I was now too busy inside my own home, like too busy, I know. Work, of course, because again, some people are affected and things like that. So you're doing more at work than you used to do. And, I was getting a bit agitated, and that is what I don't like. When I'm getting that feeling, I don't like it at all. So I was like, you know what? You need to set your priorities right. So the first is God first. So for me, it's God first, family second, third. And that is what we're talking in my industry, which is the reason, that I was attracted to the industry in the first place. So God first. Gotta put God first, right? And I make sure that, I do what I need to do, because I found out that when I do that, I'm ready for the day.
Absolutely.
And I can't tell you that I'm so excellent that, it's always in place all the time. Sometimes it's like I wake up straight and I'm logging into work straight away.
Absolutely. Yeah, it happens.
Tell myself that, you've got to pace yourself. You've got to pace yourself. You have to know what you want. You need to know what is needed for now, and what you put aside. You do that later. Because guess what? We're also homeschooling the children from home.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get what you're saying, and I think that's why you need to put in that buffer of resting, that buffer of holding on and chilling a bit, because it helps you to sustain it. Because you can't be at 100% every time. You need to be able to dial it back a bit. Have some time to chill. Because I mean, like I was telling you earlier, that I'm giving out a lot. So sometimes you have to also pause and refresh yourself, so that you can have something to give out again. Because if you keep giving out, then you're going to go into negative at the end of the day. So you need to put that in.
Absolutely. And you just pull the word out of my mouth. You cannot lead from an empty tank. And guess what? As a leader, you're not just leading, I don't want to go there yet, but number one, you're leading yourself. Right? You cannot lead yourself. You cannot lead others. Number two, if you've got family, you're leading your family. So if it's an empty tank, if you're burnt out, spent out, helping the whole world, how about your family and yourself?
Right.
Yeah. Right. You cannot lead from an empty tank.
I mean, so we're delving into that, gradually, but again, just to kind of, set the pace properly, like I said, we look at setting goals, tracking goals, and achieving them specifically for 2020 in this group. So let me just ask you, how do you do that? Do you do it as a principle, or is part of your lifestyle? Do you do it annually or quarterly? Can you just tell us, give us some insight into how you set your goals, you track it, and how you achieve them, from your perspective?
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so for me as a little girl, I used to call it daydreaming.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So daydream, I'll be like, yeah, this is what I want to achieve. And then I doodle a lot as well. So I will sketch, God knows everything, on paper. My mom just used to look at me like, oh Lord, and I'll tell her I'm going to school in the US and all that. I told her
Yeah.
and guess what? They happened, even though I got a scholarship to school in the US, but I couldn't go. So anyways, sorry for another day. But when I got into the business world, I was taught how to set goals with a SMART principle. Okay, so you know that already, so we don't need to go through that. Setting specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and
time bound. Right.
So what I do is I break it down. So like I said, because I normally daydream, so I'm that kind of person, I always have big aspirations, things that I want to achieve. But what I found is that, you can have all the highfalutin plans, goals. If you do not have a plan, to achieve your goal, it might not happen. It will not happen.
Right. Yeah.
So if it happens, you might not be able to recreate it. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So that's why sometimes, you have the superstars. Don't forget, I'm also a gospel artist. And remove the word gospel, well, I'm a musician. And you find, a lot of musicians, once upon a time, they were like, the household name, they made millions. And then you see them, they're a shadow of themselves 10 years down the line. Why? Because there was no plan.
Right.
No plan, no specific goal. It was just hit and miss, one good song, boom. And, you feel you're on top of the world. You don't have a plan to sustain your lifestyle, to sustain your means of livelihood.
Livelihood.
Yeah. So from my business, I learned, to set SMART goals, and I pace myself. So if I have a big goal, say, for example, like the goal I'm working on right now is normally I can sell like 4,000 pounds worth of products in a month, personally, apart from my team. Okay, and sometimes 3,000, sometimes 4,000. And I said to myself, is there any reason why I can't double that? Is there any reason why? Okay, so I want to double that. That means I need to sell 2,000 pounds a week. Yeah, I sell 2,000 pounds a week. At the end of 4 weeks, which is 1 month, I'll have 8,000. Right? If I want 2,000 pounds a week, I need to divide that by 7 days.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. So, and then every day I need to sell X amount of products. So that by the end of the week, I would have achieved 2,000. Make sense? So last week I tracked myself, and one of the days I slept off. That's what happens. Life happens, right?
Yeah.
So you're coming from the perspective of, even when you don't, achieve your goals, what happens? Are you going to quit out the door? No. I slept off. That reduced the amount that I could do. But by the end, I still sold 1,380. How come I have the figure in my head? It's because I was tracking it every day.
Absolutely.
After 11 p.m., I sit down, sum up everything I've sold. Yeah. And I write it down. Okay, so how far? And then I was also reporting to my team. My team is supposed to report to me. I was reporting to my team. Transparency, showing them that, this is
accountability, transparency.
Move higher. If you want to come with me, you're more than welcome. However, my results. This is what I've done, to achieve that result. So in simple terms, break it down. Break your goals down. So your goal might not be to sell X amount of products, but it could be, I want to buy a car. Hopefully before buying that car, you have other things to maintain your livelihood.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. It is a car. How much is the car? I want to drive a Range Rover. Okay. How much is a Range Rover? How much is a Range Rover in Nigeria? I don't know. Maybe 10 million. I know you laugh at me. It's not 10 million. right?
No,
Say
yeah.
10 million, right? Okay.
Mm.
And you're doing a job that pays you 1.5 million per annum and you want to drive a Range Rover. I'm for big dreams, and if you want it, that's fine. However,
Right.
how are you going to achieve 10 million from 1.5 million?
1.5.
So,
Right.
one, you know that you're already 8.5 down, right?
Yes.
Even in that
Yeah.
1.5 million, you're still down because you're going to eat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Impoverished and be driving a Range Rover. You have to eat. It.
Yeah.
Right? So, but by the time you deduct all your daily
Expenses and all that. Yeah.
what do you have left? From what you
Mm.
have left, how can you maximize that to achieve that 10 million that you're looking for?
Mm.
If you don't know how to do that, what do you have on your inside that
Right.
will help you achieve that? Yeah, I've called myself to order. I don't want to go out of the question.
No, but again, that's the whole idea, right? In terms of explaining how you do it for other people to see, because I have my own way of doing that as well, and it's I think in summary, it's basically for you to have a goal, have a target of where you want to go, no matter how big it is. But just like you said, break it down into bits that you can work with. So either it's going to be weekly, it's going to be daily or monthly, and then start to track yourself, be accountable. I mean, within the community, when we got to that point, I also explained what I do in terms of I have devices that I use to track myself. So whether it's a goal of 10,000 steps a day, or I'm trying to save a particular amount and all of that, I have applications that I use, and it's one of those things to get you up to that point to track it. And as you do it, you get to achieve your goals one step at a time. So I mean, that's fantastic. Now, to the topic of the day. And I mean, like I was telling you before, we've combined three words that are big words that, I mean, if we take one at a time, we can spend 2 hours. I mean, we're talking about limitless leadership mindset. Limitless on its own can take us like 2 hours to discuss leadership, another thing, mindset, another thing. But I'm trusting that, in the next 40 minutes or so, we'll be able to just kind of draw out some nuggets that people can pick up from the different ones. Now, I think the question I'm going to ask you firstly is, who is a leader? How do you define that? Because I don't even want to touch limitless, right now, because I know if we go to that point, we're just going to go off. But let's start with the middle word, which is leadership. Who is a leader? How do you define a leader?
Thank you. So I said to you earlier, that question gets me because I'll tell you a quick story. So in my secondary school, in my primary school, I was the head girl, but
Right.
that we're just appointed, based on, either you're intelligent or what.
Yeah.
My secondary school, it's based on intelligence, but they're also looking for other
Qualities.
So, which no one ever told me. They called us to an interview. I'm like, number one, who wants to even be a head girl? Number
Yeah.
two, why do I have to go for an interview
Interview.
to be head girl? But
Yeah.
to come for this interview, myself and my other friends who they selected, and I was like, Jesus Christ, what will be the question? What on earth could be the question? So I got in there, and apparently they've been having a big argument about me.
Wow. Okay.
Because I'm my own kind of girl. I'm one-way traffic. So
Right.
so they were like, so one section didn't want me, one section wanted me. So they were like, okay, so we're gonna ask her this question. So I got there, they were like, hello, yeah, you're being considered for this role. I said yes. Okay, so tell us, who do you think a leader is? Jesus
Wow.
Christ. Quickly, my brain went to JSS2 social studies textbook.
Can you imagine? Wow.
The definition of a leader is a person who leads people to achieve a common goal.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm trying to look for that definition all over the internet. I can't find it. It's a different definition. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but it's there in my brain. I know I saw it, because we, of course, we did it in the exam and all that. But that stuck with me for years. A leader is someone who leads a group of people to achieve a common goal.
Wow.
So One, you lead yourself. Two, you lead your family. What is your common goal?
Mm, mm.
You came together because you have a common goal. If not,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
hopefully you wouldn't marry yourself. I know people, there are other situations, but yeah. So a leader in my own terms, right, is
Mm.
a person who leads people to achieve a common goal.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, you said a couple of things in that definition, and I want to pick out something from there. It's a person who leads other people to achieve a common goal. But you started with saying that you have to lead yourself first.
Yes,
And I think that is very important because, again, like we were saying earlier, you can't give what you don't have. You
absolutely.
need to lead yourself first,
Yes,
abide by those set of principles
yes,
before you can go ahead and lead someone else. Do you
yes,
understand? And
yes.
I mean, I appreciate your definition, but I have one in mind because I've been a follower of John Maxwell for a long time, over 20 years, and he defines leadership as in a leader as someone that knows the way, right?
Yeah,
Goes the way
yeah,
and shows the way. That
absolutely.
means he knows it, he has knowledge, but he
Yeah,
actually goes down that journey
yeah,
as well, which is
yeah,
the part of you leading yourself. And
yes,
once he's gone through that journey, he
yeah,
now shows the way to somebody else. And
yes,
that kind of consummates that definition for me, which is what you just broke down now, that you lead yourself first as an individual, right? And then you, based on that experience, you can now come back and lead others. And I always tell people that, you know what, people are looking up to others that they can follow. But again, if you're going to stand in that position, you must lead yourself. One thing I tell people is that the most difficult person that I lead every day is myself, because
absolutely.
it's very difficult to lead myself, right? I put things down, I lay down principles. I have to do, because if I don't do it, right, how will I tell somebody else to do it? And that's always a question I ask myself. I mean, for example, I'm a father. I have two kids, and I tell them to lay their bed every day when they wake up, right? But I have to do it myself because
Right,
it's something that I have, because otherwise you're an hypocrite if you're telling them to do something and you're not doing it. And I
absolutely.
like I like this definition that one of my mentors says. He says that it cannot be a crooked ruler
Yeah,
cannot draw a straight line.
absolutely.
Understand? So
Um,
you need to work on yourself to be a straight ruler.
mhm.
Then you can tell people, oh, this is how you're drawing the line and all of that. So that's absolutely fantastic. Now, something just came to my mind about that leadership based on that definition I just gave you. And there are two concepts. And I was thinking about it this morning when I was just kind of, getting ready for this. And it's like there are two sides or two types of leadership that I see, basically. And I refer to this to, from a travel industry perspective. So that there is a leadership that is a travel agent leadership. Oh, they tell you that, oh yeah, I hear that Morocco is fantastic this time of the year. They've not gone there, but they're just travel agents. They just to get everybody into a plane and point you in the direction, right? And then
Yes,
there is a tour guide leadership, where the guy, when you get there and he's taking you to a tour, can actually tell you, look, this stone has a history, and explain the history. As you're going down the line, he says, oh, this tree has a history because he has gone through that path.
absolutely.
What's your take about those two type of leadership?
I like what your analogy. However, in my world, I use these two words: a coach and a mentor. So
Right.
like a coach is someone who is the travel agent in this case, right?
Right. Right.
So Serena Williams' coach, yeah, is not Serena and has
Right.
not achieved what she has achieved, but she's
Mm.
got a coach. Does it make
Yeah.
sense? However,
Yes.
a mentor is someone who has walked the path and can
Right.
show you the path.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? So,
Yes.
it's just so amazing, and I think that is also another thing, that we need to understand. At the end of the day, there's so many ways of doing different things, but the most
Mm.
important thing, again, back to leadership, is what is the goal?
Right.
There are different ways that we can achieve that goal, but what is that goal?
Mm.
And the fact that we're not going your way does not mean that we cannot achieve that goal.
Right.
Does it make sense? So
Yeah.
you've given an amazing definition, and you've even coined a nice word for it. And I've come with, the coach and the mentor, and we're still saying
Yeah,
this.
absolutely, absolutely. So I mean that and that's it for me when it comes to the topic of leadership. Like my mentor also says that leadership is about influence, right? And I tell people that it's not about a title. It's not a
Yeah,
title. It's about the influence, about the lives you can affect.
yeah,
People you can help to
yeah,
move from one point to a higher point,
yeah,
right? But again, some people will tell you that they don't see themselves as a leader, and I tell them that it's not about a position,
no.
it's about the influence that you have.
And
So what's your perspective about that, in terms
yeah,
of
and
you don't
that's
have to
why
wait for a title?
and that's why I started from that word, you lead yourself. Everybody
Right.
is a leader. Everybody is a leader. But
Mm,
your type of leadership, the way you lead, what you do with your leadership differs. But we are
mm,
all leaders in our own right. Because I lead myself to wake up and go to wherever I need to go to. And if I do
right.
not lead myself well, what happens?
Mm,
No money, no food on
mm,
my table, right?
mm,
No
right.
influence. Does it make sense? So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it is, you know, you, you just have to realize, and again, I don't want to jump the gun, but it's all about mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You, if you say you're not a leader, you're right. But if you say
Mm,
you are a leader, you're also right. Which one would you
mm.
rather go for?
I mean, and just like you said, right? I just kind of put up some of the questions that I have in mind, and we'll just go in and out of them, as we flow.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you mentioned mindset, because again, just like I said, everything is about that mindset, and this topic is loaded, because each one is a whole session on its own. Now, going back to mindsets, for me, I understand that there are two types of mindset. There is the fixed mindset, and there is a growth mindset. And I just want to tie it to what I have here as a question: that how does our mindset play into our success or failure? Because just like you said, now it's all about mind. Some people might think, oh yeah, I'm not a leader, and with that kind of mindset, they don't want to get anything, even though we're highlighting that it is not a position,
Yeah.
it's an influence, something that because everybody has a circle of
Yes.
influence. but
Yes.
but this type of person will tell you that no, I'm not a leader, and it's a mindset thing. So how does our mindset play into our success or failure?
Thank you very much. For me, it is the biggest thing. And I
Mm,
always say to people, so I lead a team of over 90 women as we speak, 90 men and
wow.
women, because I've got some men in
Wow.
my team as well.
Right.
And when people, join my team, the first thing I ask them, if we have the opportunity, to speak, is why? Why do you
Mm,
want this? Why do you want
right.
this?
Right.
And even though the question is mindset, it is all about what is your why?
Mm,
What is your why? Because your mindset determines your why.
mm,
So, for example, someone like me. So, yeah, I started out as this intelligent superstar. Primary school, secondary school was, brilliant as well. And then I got into study medicine. And after my 100 level, failed. Let me just spell it out. I failed.
right.
Right? I failed in, so yeah, I didn't fail as in a bad GP, but I failed the requirements to move on to 200 level, which is where the real work starts.
It starts. Yeah.
For someone who had that track record, was like my world was about to crumble.
Mm,
Like, how am I going to do this? But one thing that kept me was my mindset. I believe
mm,
that if there's anything I want to do,
mm,
nothing can stop me except
mm,
God, and I don't
mm,
want to do it. So,
mm,
back to the question, your mindset plays a lot into how you interpret things, how you see
mm,
things, how you interpret failure, and how you deal with it, work with it, and get it behind you and move forward.
mm. Right.
So
Right.
if you feel like, oh, I'm always a failure. So, I mean, like I said, I came from a place where, I know I'm intelligent, blah, 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 blah. But hey, guess what? A failure is staring me right in the face.
Yeah.
And, at the back of my mind, it was always like, oh, I failed medical school. And before, it's not something I can even talk about. Right?
Mm,
oh, I got to the, I told myself, no, I'm not a failure. I was even deceiving myself at that time. I was like, I'm not a failure. They don't appreciate me in Nigeria, so I'm going. Which is why I went to look for this US school by myself. Went how to do the exams by myself. Found money from God knows where by myself. Wrote the exam by myself. Smashed the exams by myself to the extent that the school had to give me a scholarship to ask me to come over. But yeah, I couldn't. But I just wanted to prove to myself that, you know what, the fact that I failed once does not mean that I'll remain a failure for life. No, I'm not.
Absolutely.
I know I'm not a failure. Does it make sense? However, I also know that, our background, our environment plays a lot, into, the fabric that weaves your mindset. If someone has always been telling you that you're a failure, you're this, you're that, you're most likely going to adopt that mindset. And that this is the way I always say it, you have to win your inner game. Win your inner game. If you don't win your inner game, nobody can win it for you. Nobody can win it for you. So you have to know that you are enough. You are enough. You just need to be you. And that's why I said earlier that, I'm one-way traffic. I'm my own kind of girl, which is why so some of the teachers didn't want me, because I could be as shy as God knows what, and I could be a liar. I could be as bold as a liar. So some teachers had crossed my path, even though I'm not a rude girl. But I'm like, state my claim, man. Like, this is what it is. So, but the answer to the question got me to the throne. Okay, so back to mindset, and back to mindset. It affects everything that you do, and I say to my children as well, you are enough. You are the best. You understand? As much as I want you to compete, and I want you to celebrate people when they win, but I want you to know that you are made for the top. You are made for the top. Nobody can push you to the back. And that is what helped me as well when I got to the UK. I tell you, I started a beauty business that I have no business doing as a tomboy.
Exactly. I mean, it's a huge transformation for me.
No business, absolutely no business doing a beauty business. However, my why was what was propelling me. So the first thing was I was looking for great products for my skin, because my skin started, having problems, which I didn't used to have. Secondly, my job. I was working as a systems analyst. And, I was so excited that, I got this job with a Fortune 500 company, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't ticking the boxes. I was like, this is not like MTN, man. So we have to do attitude, When I was like, what's your mission statement? They're looking at me like, in my mind, I'm thinking, wow. And this is, I don't want to mention the name of the company, but it's a big company. I'm like, what? I was looking on the wall to see if I'll find their mission statement. I got it.
Right.
So anyway, I was like, no. There has to be more. I was like, okay, I've always wanted to live outside the country, have a great job. Okay, I've gotten all that. I've got my family, I've got my daughter. What next? There's got to be more. And my job ticks most of the boxes for me, because of course, as in IT, we're problem solvers,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but this job just wasn't ticking it. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this UK, I'm going back home. My husband was like, no, I'm not going nowhere. I was like, I don't like it here. I don't like it at all. But then I said, so what's going to happen? Your husband is saying you're not going back home. What are you going to do? Are you going to fail? Are you just going to live a life of irrelevance? And I started to ask myself, what are the things that I've done? And, so to come back to the question, that mindset that, you know what? I'm a successful person. Anywhere I get, I have to be successful. If I've created success in Nigeria, I can recreate it anywhere.
Absolutely.
As long as I have my mindset. Take the money, that's okay. But I've got the mindset. That mindset is, whatever I lay my hands on, I will prosper. He that is greater than that which is in the world. It is that he who is in me that is at work in me, but to act and to will according to his good purpose.
It's
So
good pleasure.
come on.
Wow.
Failure
Wow.
might come, it's temporary. That
Mm.
failure, take it and turn it around.
Wow.
Around. Because
I mean, thank you so much for that. I just want to pull up a comment from someone that is watching that just said, he was quoting Henry Ford, and he says, if you believe you can, then you can. If you believe you can't, then you can.
You're right.
And that basically what the mindset is about. And just like you mentioned, right? Sometimes our background and everything, affects us as well. And I have a typical example. There was a book I read by Jos Meyer when I was in school, Battlefield of the Mind,
Yeah.
and it tells me that everything starts from the mind, right? And if you can get it right from your mind, then you can get it right out there, which is one of the things I had to overcome myself, because of course the background and everything was there, but I kind of evolved out of that background deliberately. And just like you mentioned, I started asking why questions. Why is this like this? Okay, I don't want mine to be like this. What do I need to do? And it's Robert Kiyosaki that mentions this as well, that look, if you have a problem, don't say, oh, I don't know what to do. Because the moment you say that, your mind shuts down, everything shuts down. But if you start saying, how will I resolve this problem? What do I need to do? Then your brain starts to work, and it starts to tick and say, okay, how do I find a solution to this problem? And then you get out of it. So it's a mindset thing. I mean, I have people I mentor, and sometimes that's one of the things I try to break first in terms of their mindset, because to a large extent, majority of people have a fixed mindset. They'll say, oh, this is how I am. This is how God has, his destiny, and I like some of the things you were mentioning about the fact that, look, I am the best. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world, and that there is no point, being a second-rated person. I am built for the top. I'm built for, number one position and all that. And I put that in my kids as well. They compete, they do all of that. If they come second, I tell them, go and congratulate the person that came first. But exactly, but remember that you have that potential to be there as well. And they don't back down on anything. My kids can be in a circle of people. There was time we came to the UK, and that was the first time he was hanging out with some of his friends, and he just connected. And at some point they were like, are you based here? And he's like, no, we just came on a holiday, because he was trained up like that, you know what, nobody is better than you. You are the best. You have everything in you. You have what it takes to go up there and perform. And that's the mindset part. I that's one of the things that people need to develop, that growth mindset, which says, I am not limited.
Yes.
And I'm trying for us to get into that limitless part, because I know you're raring to go. That mindset that says, I can always improve. I give this example to people. I watch a lot of football, right? Cristiano Ronaldo, Ibrahimovic are big football stars, right? But people tell you that, okay, maybe once you are 29, 30, you are getting to the twilight of your career. But these guys are like, no, they take it to another level. Even though physically, age-wise, they're getting older, but they go for training. When everybody has gone, they stay back and train themselves more, because they understand that they want to be at that peak and sustain it as a lifestyle, and that's what they do. So they have that mindset that, no, they're not limited. Nothing can constrain them. And that's how I want us to get into that particular section, right? How do you define limitless? I see in your window, you named it Aderonke Limitless Loretta.
Yes.
So how do you define limitless?
Okay, so oh my Lord. So this one, let me start with the dictionary definition, right? And then I'll give you Aderonke's definition of the word limitless.
Okay, we'll go for it.
Okay, so according to the dictionary, the word limitless means to be without end, without end, without limit, without boundary. Something that's very great, right? Something that's endless. And I added the word something that's got endless possibilities.
Right.
So, however, in my own definition, the word limitless comes from my name. And If you look at the screen, my name is Aderonke. In my industry, one of the things that endeared me to this industry was the first or the second training I attended. My leader then, so I'm now a leader with the company, but, I also have a leader. So my leader, you need to do positive affirmations, right? And you need to use your name to find positive words to affirm about yourself. I was like, yeah, I remember this kind of thing. Oh, whoa, that's good. So she asked us to pull out a paper, and then we're to, find amazing words with our name. So it starts from A. I was like, A for amazing. D, oh, I'm dynamic. I know that one. D for that dynamic. A for amazing didn't really sound, but I was like, anyway, so I got to the letter N. I was like, God, N. I couldn't find the word. I was like, no. So I put non-stopping. And I was like, non-stopping does not sound like it.
Right.
Non-stopping. I was like, that sounds funny. So, but then I kept that word and I kept, thinking in my mind for years. And I think after like 2 years or so, I was listening to a friend of mine preach and he used the word limitless. I was like, that's it. That's it. That's the word. That's the word. And so to me, to be limitless means to be unstoppable.
Right.
Okay? To not allow anything stop you. That is what the word limitless means to me. Because my life journey is all about being limitless. If I stop, we wouldn't live here. I just thank God. I've been able to prove to myself, my family, everyone around me. People think, and like you said earlier, of course, during this pandemic, we've got the energy. Someone like me, I'm very energetic.
Yeah, I know.
You can feel it a little bit, even
I know.
the screen,
I know.
to learn to, tell my energy, which was one of the things that, I think in my first job, they couldn't understand
with it.
The energy and the passion from this guy, because we had this problem and I solved the problem. I was like, hey, that's what we're talking about. So I went back to my boss. I was like, any other problem? Are you crazy? We don't want problems.
Wow.
I'm like, I need more problems.
Wow.
Anyways, back to the points. Yeah. So for me, the word limitless is to be unstoppable.
Wow. Okay. So like I was, we're discussing earlier, when I heard the word limitless, yes, I know the English definition of it, but again, what comes to my mind, like I told you, was a movie I watched titled Limitless. I think it was Bradley Cooper. That was the star of that movie, and it was just a sci-fi, and I love watching sci-fi. And the idea was that there is a pill, that was created, that once you take it, it gives you the capacity to use 100% of your brain. Of course, to a large extent, even those that are highly intellectual, they don't get to use 100% of their brain capacity. And so he took that drug, and the moment he did, he was limitless in the sense that his mental capacity was sharp, his physical body was good. Everything about him just went to another level. And so every time I hear that word, that's what that movie comes to my mind. And I'm just like, okay, it's like me taking a pill and saying that, nothing can stop me. And I like what you said about that as well, that you're unstoppable the moment you're limitless. And again, it boils down to that mindset thing where that you can always improve. And that's my mantra. I want to be a better person than the person I was yesterday. Yes. That's all I strive for, right? So if I've done something yesterday, before I sleep, I kind of measure myself, analyze what I did, and I say, okay, you know what, Shay, tomorrow you're going to be better than what you've done today. And I keep doing that as a continuous improvement, kind of strategy. And I said this to one of the guests that came earlier, that my definition, to a large extent, when it comes to this, is that the biggest room in the world is your room for improvement.
Yeah.
It is the biggest room. Yeah. Because every time you look at it, it gets bigger. Every time you move a notch, it gets bigger. There are so many things to do. And that's how, I train myself. And it gets to a point that it becomes a lifestyle for you, So just like setting goals, tracking them and achieving them, just the example you gave, it becomes a lifestyle. And then you start pushing the boundary. And that's what I tell people, that, okay, why will you set a goal that is comfortable for you? And I use this example. You want to save $25 a month. and you're already saving $25. It's not a goal anymore because you're already doing it. Stretch it to 75, stretch it to $50, and then your brain starts to work that, okay, what do I need to cut down, to have that? And then you track it on a regular basis to meet your financial target. But people don't, I don't know, maybe people are not that disciplined enough, to be able to go with that. And that's why, just to touch on it, they need to have mentors, people that have done this before, which goes back to that leadership definition, people that have gone the way before, not just a travel agent kind of person, but a tour guide, somebody that has gone through, so that they can, because I tell people that, everybody says, oh, experience is the best teacher. But I say, no, other people's experience is the best teacher. And that's the way I look at it. Like, just keep improving yourself, keep getting better, have the right mindset, the mindset that says I can always grow, as opposed to one that kind of limits you. Now, as we're trying to, I mentioned a movie, right?
Yeah.
That is what Limitless, comes to me with from a movie perspective. I know you have something in mind as well in terms of a movie that relates to Limitless for you. Can you just talk about that too?
Oh, okay. I was trying to run away from there because if I start, okay. So, but it's this movie. It's called Men of Honor, right. And I can't really. I know the name of the actor, but it's not coming to me. So, but anyway, if you Google it, Men of Honor. And it was about this Navy diver who was, the best at it. And unfortunately, he lost one of his limb, or what we call it. So he was an amputee. Right. Okay. So anyway, so he wanted so much to get back into active service. I mean, someone who has 2 legs, right? Can still not even dive. How much more someone who's lost a limb? But this guy went against all odds, to retrain himself and prove that even though he's an amputee, he can still, get back into active diving. So anyways, the last bit of the film was where he was going to go through a test, to get back into active service. And he had this mentor. He had this crazy mentor. Right. This crazy mentor who, was going to, call out the steps for him. And so he had to take 12 steps from one point to another point. And if he could take the 12 steps, then he will be called back to active service. Sorry. But number one, so this is, and we can just use this to explain what happens to us in life. So first, he's got a limitation, which is his amputated leg, right? And he's through that limitation. Secondly, the gear, for diving. So that's when I say the gear, I mean the attire for diving on his own is heavy, right? So to put gear on this guy, right, with his amputated leg, and he was so the guys, the mentor started calling out the steps, and 12 steps, right? Okay, so taking the steps, and he's taking the 8th one, and then the 9th one. 9 over 12 is 75%, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Because right. And this happens to us a lot of times in our lives. You are nearly there. You were just about to hit that goal, and then something happens. What do you do when something happens? Right? This guy, the weight of the attire, he was almost giving in. He was about to fall, actually. Yeah. And the what do they call them, adjudicators or whatever,
the panel, right?
Let me use that word. Yeah, that's not the right word, but let me use the examiners. Where about, of course, human pity. Pity from people. You want people to join you in crying. Yeah. It's okay, because you have to let it off. But after that crying, clean your eyes and get back to work, right? So they were going to pity him by asking him to stand down. But guess what?
Mm.
You are not taking those 12 steps for nothing.
Right.
Generations to generations were depending on those 12 steps.
Right.
Generations of people like me, because it's actually a true life story. Did you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
So
Yeah.
generations were depending on those 12 steps. But
Mm.
and he was about to stand down, right?
Mm.
He's got the determination. So you're that kind of person, you're strong, you're energetic, you've got everything going, and then something happens. You're human. You're human.
Mm.
And that is
Mm.
why to be limitless, you need to have the right set of people in your circle.
Mm. Right.
These are the people that will not allow you to give up on yourself. Because I tell you, we are all human beings. The
Absolutely.
best of us are humans. And,
Right.
we get those moments, right? But for this mentor, when they said, naval officer, stand down, the mentor said, disregard. This is my detail. I was like, you're right. Come on.
Yes. Yes.
And it was like, come on, Cookie. You want to be a naval diver? Give me those steps. Nine. Naval diver.
Right.
Not a fighter. You need to know why. Yes, we are both, officers. He's a naval officer. He gets the uniform. He gets everything, but he's not a fighter. Says a naval diver is a
fighting machine.
That is, he reconnected him to his why. He's like, you're not here to fight with this silly guy that doesn't know what he's doing. You are here, to be a salvage expert. So give me that step, Cookie.
Right.
People like that in our lives, they'll be like, girl, you are more than this. Come on, let's go. Yeah. So, anyways, of course, to cut the long story short, of course, the guy got himself together 10, 11, 12.
And 12.
Called back to service. And 2 years after, I think he broke a record. He was the first African American to do something. I can't remember.
Yes.
I watch it. I'm like, yes. This is what we're talking about.
that whole experience defines, being limitless, because you're faced with an obstacle, right? Even though it looks like it was insurmountable with all the limitations he had with his amputee leg and everything, but he went ahead. And just like you said, there was a mentor that was there by his side. You can imagine if he was going through that without a mentor, I'm sure he would have just accepted defeat on that 9th step and just go back and sit down. But somebody was there, and that's another thing I want to tie together in terms of sometimes you can't do this by yourself. You need people. I mean, I posted something this morning because I was thinking about it. I watched an interview by Oprah. I think it was at Stanford. She had an interview at Stanford, and she mentioned this quote from Maya Angelou to say, I come to you as one, but I stand before you as 10,000.
Yes.
Right. And I said, that hits me in a different way when I looked at it, that, okay, yes, you come as one, dig deep in yourself. The obstacle you're facing, look at yourself, because you have the tools to overcome it. However, stand as 10,000, leverage on the connection you have, because someone says this, everything that works in life is connected. Don't be in isolation. Leverage your network, have someone support you, have a support structure in place, and you can overcome every obstacle every single time. And that, for me, is that definition, of being limitless, of having that mindset that grows every time, not recognizing any barrier. Just like the Bible says about, the armies, that they can leap over a wall, they run through a troop, they can do everything. That's Joel's army. They do not turn back for anything. They go and they achieve their goals. And for me, that's the whole essence of, being limitless and all of that. I don't know if you have any other thing you want to add, because I actually plan to play that video, after this, for just the last 12 minutes of it, just for people to just understand what we're talking about. We don't have the rights to the video, but I'm just going to play for a few minutes. You can go on YouTube. I'll put the link in there for everybody to see. But even as you're describing it, I'm having chills on myself, just thinking about it again. So I'm just going to play it as we round up. But do you have any other, comments you want to, just put in as we get to the end of this? And just like I told you, 1 hour has gone and we've not even touched the surface.
Are you serious? Okay. So, I mean, I've got a lot to say, but then again, I have to be mindful of time. And all I'll just say is, keep on smiling,
Right.
because no matter what you're going through, put yourself together, smile, because when you smile, it makes you feel better. And I'm telling you,
Right.
I'm not saying cheesy stuff. It actually makes you feel better, and you're
Yeah.
able to start, to take the next step from there, and be limitless. Be absolutely limitless. Don't let anything stop you. Whatever it is you want to achieve, go for it. Go for it.
Mm.
If nobody in your clan or your circle has achieved it, look for people. You can find mentors, right? Either physically or by their books, or
Mm.
we've got YouTube now. You Instead of using YouTube to find the latest dance step, well, if you're meant to be a dancer, please go ahead.
Right.
If you're not meant to be a dancer, apart from relaxing, look at use YouTube to find things that are positive, things that will make
Mm.
you a better person. Yeah.
Right.
And as you go on in life, I want to just give you 3 words, and this is the things that I teach my children. LOE. Yeah, that's
Mm.
it's not. I don't think it's a word in the dictionary or anything, but I
Right.
word to my children and I said low. Okay, so really I tell them low E, right? Okay, so what do? If you get to a place, the first thing you do is you listen
Mm.
for facts. If you get to a
Mm.
new office, listen. Don't just go, listen to the facts. Look for the people who are succeeding in that office. What are they doing?
Right.
You know,
Right.
what are they doing to close those tickets early? What are they doing
Mm.
to solve those problems? Smile at them. Hi, how are you? Oh, well done. I saw what you did. Appreciate them and accept accept other people. No.
Mm.
What? It's gone off my brain now. But appreciate other people, because when you
Mm.
appreciate them, it will come back to you as well. It will come back to.
Absolutely.
Okay, so listen. Number one, listen. Don't If you don't remember anything from this call, listen to the facts, listen to the details. If you keep quiet well
Mm.
enough, you would hear the facts, you will get the facts. Okay, and
Right.
as a leader, you have to know how to listen, because even when
Mm.
someone is telling you no, she's saying no, not because she wants to say no, but because of some details. There's a
Mm.
reason why that person
Mm.
is saying no. Okay, so
Mm.
then so the next thing is to observe. Okay, so you
Mm.
listen and open your eyes. Right, open your eyes and observe. So I say to my children,
Mm.
observe. Look in your surroundings, observe, because the answer might be right in front of you, might be right
Right.
in front of you, but you've been walking past that same place every day, but you never observed what was in your environment. Okay, so
Right.
observe. And
Mm.
3, extract. So I say to them, you don't just go listening, looking, observing, doing whatever. Yeah, you extract information, baby. And
Right.
then
Right.
extracted information to make a decision with regards to what you need to do.
Mm. Mm.
That's it.
Wow.
That's what I had to say.
Wow. Listen, observe, and
Observe,
extract.
extract.
I'm going to adopt that, and I'll look for more words to make it an acronym. I can, like a mnemonic that I can call out specifically.
All
Thank you
right.
very much, Ronke, for this. I really appreciate you, and I mean, just like I said at the start, you've helped us as well. Giving us the tool that we're using now for broadcast that
Thank you.
makes it easy and straightforward. I want to appreciate you for that, and thank you for your time as well.
Thank you.
So just like I said earlier, I'm going to play the 12-minute video. We can still hang around and just maybe make comments as it plays. And then once it's done, we're going to end the broadcast. But I just want to appreciate you. Let me play it, because again, just thinking about it, I'm already feeling some goose pimples and all. So let me just play it out so that people
Go for
can
it.
see, you know, just give me a minute. I might have to enable my audio as well. Let me just hold on a second. Okay, where are we? There we are. Okay. All right. Can you hear the audio?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. much, Ronke. God bless you. I mean, we didn't even dig the surface at all, but again, I believe that people have been encouraged, they've been blessed. That there are points that you have highlighted, excuse me, that I'm sure they will pick up and start to use, to better themselves and have that mindset. Forget it. We're going to have another session. I think we'll break it down and do just one word per session. Let's talk about limitless, separate, leadership, separate, mindset, separate. I don't know why we combined everything together. Come on. This is I mean, it's we're gonna take it properly in another session. I hope when we call on you, you'll be able to answer. I know you are very busy. I mean, but again, this is something you believe in as well, so it's going to be exciting for us to have this again. I want to thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. My regards to your family, to your husband, to your kids, and everybody. Thank you. And to the rest of the community, this is where we drop the anchor for today. I'm still working on getting more guests on the show, and we're just going to see how far we can push this to help people and kind of share some of the principles that myself and some of my friends and colleagues have been using over the years, to set our goals, track them and achieve them, and kind of make us better people in our various lives, affecting other people as well. And that's the whole essence, just to be able to influence people to be better. And that's the whole idea for us. So stay tuned for another broadcast coming shortly. Wish you all the best. Have a good evening. Have a good morning wherever you are. And enjoy the weekend. God bless you.
Thank you.